Counseling Women, presented by Angela Rogers. Women's Strengths. Women are nurturers. Building and maintaining relationships are very important to women, so they place a high value on investing in these relationships. They also are typically sensitive and kind. They are socialized from a young age to care for others. They can be seen playing house, pretending to be a school teacher, or even playing the part of a nurse. With their dolls, they will mimic mothers caring for others. Women are also typically guided by a strong value system. In many homes, it is the woman who is enforcing the rules and making sure that everyone gets to church or to other important activities on time. Women are often placed in a caregiving role, whether it be for children, elderly relatives, or those who are ill. Women's challenges. Poverty. The poverty rate for single mothers is 37%, the highest of any demographic group in the United States. There is a misconception that single mothers who rely on government assistance are lazy. There is an assumption that employment opportunities are readily available. There is also an assumption that anyone who wants a job can find one, even though the evidence doesn't support this assumption. An interesting perspective on this issue is putting the focus on the neighborhoods women live in. Individual factors are always at play, such as the responsibility of a caregiver role, a lack of work experience, the inability to afford daycare, physical health problems, mental health problems, and also being victims of domestic violence. What impact does the neighborhood have on job opportunities? First, not all neighborhoods have available job opportunities. Having a driver's license and owning a car is associated with a higher earning potential. But what if a woman doesn't have a driver's license, doesn't own or have access to a car, and doesn't have access to public transportation? These things would definitely have an impact on their ability to find employment, and the neighborhood can either add to or ease this struggle. Women's challenges. Sexual assault. A significant number of women using mental health services are survivors of sexual violence. In fact, 68% of women with a severe mental illness have a history of sexual assault. Those whose sexual assault happened while they were still children are 4 times more likely to seek mental health counseling. Research shows that this type of trauma leads to long-term effects such as depression, anxiety, aggression, isolation, poor self-esteem, self-harm, suicidal ideation, relationship difficulties, trust and sexual issues, dissociative disorder, antisocial behavior, substance abuse, maladaptive eating patterns, psychosis, and/or personality disorders. This would account for why women are 70% more likely to experience a major depressive episode than men are. Women's challenges. Domestic violence. Many women also deal with domestic violence, which one author defines as violent, abusive, or intimidating behavior carried out by an adult against a partner or former partner to control and dominate that person. Domestic violence causes fear and physical and/or psychological harm. Women's challenges. Depression and interpersonal problems. Being abused, sexually or physically, leads to a new twist on attachment theory, which is now widely used to help us understand adult interpersonal relationships. Our experiences with our early primary caregivers influence our future expectations and behavior in relationships. A negative view of the self typically leads to depression, and when people are depressed, they are less likely to seek out relationships and social supports, which then leads to an even greater level of depression. Women's challenges. Growing older. Women also have to deal with ageism, more so than men. Women tend to become invisible as they age, as both employers and men prefer younger women. As women move through the many stages of life, they will experience a variety of life events, and some will likely be stressful and traumatic. Clinical implications. Best practices for counselors. Many women need to learn self-care and how to establish boundaries in their relationships. When meeting with a new client, counselors should always ask about a client's experience with violence and sexual assault, as these experiences often lead to a variety of issues, including issues with substance abuse and suicidal ideation. Many women won't open up and talk about these experiences unless they are asked. Shame, embarrassment, and/or fear keeps them quiet. They may also still be experiencing the abuse and may need help in getting out of a dangerous relationship. Low-income women are at an even greater risk for both depression and domestic violence. Counselors should be trained to respond appropriately to a woman's disclosure of sexual assault, as those who don't respond properly may cause harm to their clients. Best practice responses are to show you believe them, empathize with them, to not blame them, and to validate their feelings so as to make their interaction with you as unlike their past experiences with violence as possible. Counselors should also be prepared to help aging women transition into new roles. The greatest impact a therapist can have on a client is quality of the therapeutic relationship, so counselors need to make this a priority. Counseling should also include a review of skill deficits and interpersonal problems in an effort to assist the client and help them deal with any deficits which may lead to depression. The counselor often becomes an attachment figure for the client, but the counselor responds differently than the client's early caregivers. These interactions can cause changes in cognitive and emotional schemas, which may assist the client in seeing themselves and others differently. Counselors may also need to model appropriate sharing of feelings, as that may not be easy for someone who has experienced abuse and/or has not had a social support system in the past. Counselors can also attempt to explore the concept of resilience with their clients. Resilience is how individuals persist and recover through extreme adversities, while at the same time negotiating everyday life. An article on aging women has shown that religion and spirituality provides feelings of hope and comfort. In addition to helping women become more resilient, research suggests that for individuals who believe in a God that is in control, a God who listens and knows, and a God who makes things ultimately good, are likely to parallel these beliefs in their relationships with others. Based on this research, it may be useful for the counselor to have a dialogue with clients about what role, if any, religion and spirituality plays in their life. Advocacy. Women helping women. Counselors can advocate for women in the areas of affordable quality childcare and housing. As women are nurturers and caretakers, these are very important issues to address, and the lack of them would be significant stressors in a woman's life. As the number of women living in poverty is so high, counselors can also advocate for equal pay for equal work, in addition to affordable and accessible continued education and job training programs. If women have access to these types of programs, then that will help to make them more marketable and hopefully provide them with more job opportunities. Another place where advocacy is needed is in the location of mental health centers. Mental health centers should be placed in convenient locations serviced by public transportation so that women who need them can access them. We also saw that a deficit in social skills and conflict management has an impact on women and can lead to depression. In conclusion, like everyone else, women have amazing qualities but also have immense challenges. While not everything discussed here will be applicable for all women, they are issues for a majority of women, so counselors should be prepared to help their clients deal with them. Helping to educate them, assisting them in locating resources, and providing social support are some of the best ways the counseling profession can help women.